Hello everyone, my name is Anton, and in this video I want to talk about collections in Craft. So this is still in beta. Right now I am on version 2.8.10, and we actually just got an update today, so just probably some small refinements here and there and some bug fixes. But let's go ahead and stick to collections. This is a new feature that they're bringing out. I won't go back in history and talk about the old objects. I have another video that talks about that. But with collections, what they're bringing in this particular feature, I'll go ahead and show how this works and show a use case on how you can actually use this. Now, the collection is similar to a inline table, so you can just think of it that way. And you can also, even when you do your slash command, if you just type data as if you're going to type database, it will actually recognize that and then show you collection. Now you can always hit collection as well, but for those that are used to database and really think of this as a database, you can still use this slash command to get to this. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter, and we'll see it creates a collection here, and it looks just like an inline database that you would get in other applications like Notion. Now these different collections that you create here, you can have multiple per page, and this is a differentiator on how it worked previously when they were calling this capability objects. Now you can actually have these in a page, and they sit directly in a page. They don't have their own high level where they would be represented over here, similar to like this new feature that they have here called tasks. Before, objects used to kind of have their own placeholder here in the hierarchy. So you can come in here and you can create multiple collections, and with these different collections you have this table view, and this is the only view that they have right now. So it looks similar to what you would get with an actual table, but there is obviously a difference here. With a table, if I come in here and I put a table in here, we can see the difference where you do not have the ability to have multiple views of the data within this collection. You don't get to do multiple views. This is really a simple table where you can create heading and some rows here and just put information that's going to be static, and you have no filtering, sorting options, so on and so forth. But in your collections, these act like databases, so you're at least able to get a little bit more out of these, and they're a bit more capable and act just like databases. So you can come in here and you can display or change the different fields that you create here. You can add additional fields. So I'll just come in here and field 1. You can have different types of fields, and right now they're only text, number, checkbox, date, URL, single select, and then multi-select. They are coming out with relation and block links, so it'll be interesting to see how that works in this particular setup of collections. But we're supposed to actually get more information next week, so I look forward to it. Now when you're coming here and you add in your field, as I mentioned before here, if I click in here, I can hide fields that I don't want to show in this particular view, and you can add pretty much as many fields as you need to. And I have not seen a limit. I haven't even tried to hit a limit on it, but I do have an example that shows multiple fields within one collection. You can come in here, you can save this, and when you save this particular view, then this view will only show this the fields that you have selected to show here. If you do any group by, which is a pretty good option to have within this table right out of the gate, you can do a group by. I'll show an example of this here. You can do filters, in here, and all of these group bys and filters allow you to leverage the fields that you create. Now, you will not get any default fields. I've mentioned this in another video. In the current implementation, you can't use, say, the created date or last modified and so on and so on. So you will need to create the fields if you want to do filtering, sorting, or group by. The filtering, you can do multi-level filtering. So if you want to set up something in here where it gets a certain tag, let me hit enter on there. And this is, so it doesn't allow you to just put one letter on there. That's interesting. So let me see, tag 1 here, if I put that in as an object. Oh, it's not doing it because I actually don't have the tag created. So that's interesting that it doesn't have the create option here. So just noticing that this should actually, if it doesn't see the tag in there, it would be nice to have the ability to create it right here. So, but I get where they're going here. So let me come in here and let's just create, say, a tag field, and this tag will have some text. We'll just leave it at text here, and we'll do 1 there and maybe 2 here. So I can come in here and I can do the filter. Just want to show this where I do tags, or actually tag, because I created a different one here, and it contains, we'll do 1 on this one here. That is in there, so it goes okay. And here you can create another one where maybe there's some like criteria you want to filter on in a different field. This is, you can't do multi-level on the group by. You can only group by, say, one of these. So if I want to group by tags here, it only gives you the ability to do it at one level. So just know that. You have sorting options in here where you can sort on these properties. And then you can go into the settings here where you can set up the different fields from a top level. And you can also change the name from here. So if I want to change this to collection 1 and maybe add in another field 2, and we'll make this one a number, and we'll go ahead and add there. Now you can change the icons that are on the side. So you got these icons here that you can play around with, and you can change those. So we'll go ahead and save this. And yeah, you have a pretty nice table here. You can select different rows here on this side, and when you create something of an actual item in here, you have this little arrow here. You can go into it and it will show you the actual fields for this particular object that you created in this collection. Now if you want to edit the actual name, and I thought I already updated, but I might not have saved it, so make sure when you are doing any kind of updates that you're saving your settings so that they stick. I have seen where I start creating a field like a multi-select or single select, start adding in all the options, and then I click around somewhere else and the window will completely go away and I have to redo everything. So make sure you save all your changes that you're making when you're configuring these. Now the different views here, as I mentioned, you only get the table view, but you can come in here and create another table. You can rename this, and maybe you want to have this one to be filtered with something, and this other table here just be all, right? So you can set up these different filters that only show you specific data. So when you click on there, you can quickly see a certain data based on a filter or sorting or a grouping. Different views is something that you obviously do not get on a basic table, so this is a pretty good option to have. Another thing you get on these tables is you do get calculations here below. If I come in here and I just put some numbers in this particular in these rows here, let's just go to this one with text in it. If we hit calculation, we'll see that you do get some different calculations within here that you can perform on, depending on the actual type of field that you have. If I come over here to this one where it's a number field, we'll see that we get additional, where you have more down here, additional options to work with here. So you can sum, average, min, max, range, and median. So depending on the actual field type will determine what kind of calculation you can do here at the bottom. Now this is only it can only do here at the bottom of the collection or the table itself. You cannot have a field that has a function or a formula built into it to where it can do calculations. At least not yet. They don't have that type of field. Now another thing to think of when you're creating a collection is whether this collection is going to be like a monolith where you're just going to put a whole bunch of information into this thing, and then you're going to carve up that data into different views using filters, so on and so forth. Or if you're going to use it similar to how you would use a table or a simple table here, but use this instead to give you some additional filtering and sorting type options that you might not get over with this simple table. So if you do it in this simple way, this would be, you would have one of these in every page. So like if you set up a template that tracks or logs some kind of information, and then the page itself, say, is done every day or every week or every month. So the information in the table will always be different because you'll have a new page with a new collection in it, and yeah, that data will not be all in the same collection. If you do it from a monolith standpoint, you'll create one page, you'll have one collection, and then every time you want to input the information, you input it into here. And then maybe what you have is just you're setting up different views here with different information that shows you that different month or different year or different category, etc., from the actual view here. Now one thing that would have been nice, and it still could potentially come to this actual feature, is the fact that you cannot embed. So if you go to this monolith type of model where everything is just going in there like in Notion, you can set up a database and you can just put stuff in it, pile it in there, and then again set up your different views and filtering, so on and so forth. But you can actually embed that inline database like over in Notion. It would be nice if you can take these collections and embed it into other pages, and then just filter it over on that side the way you want to have it shown in that page, but it doesn't affect the views over here. But the data is the only thing that in the fields are consistent across these different tables. It's just the way they're presented and viewed are different. Now let's take a look at an example on how you can actually use a collection here. If I come here to this rental property balance sheet here, so this is just one way I thought that this could be used, and maybe it'll spark some some creativity in how you can use this going forward. So this here is one where this would be a more of a monolith type of setup where all the information goes into here, and then when I want to see a certain month or a certain year, I'd actually create a different view and filter out those months or years or even status within the different view. So if I came over here to this particular table here, or table view, let's rename this to say paid. just to show an example, we'll name this one to all, where there are filters on this one here. And in here, what we'll do is we'll filter for status that has paid. So anything with paid will show up in this particular view. And if we come over here, we can do another one. We can say pending. So these two examples should show you exactly how you can look at these. Let me see, status, pending, and okay, right there. This shows all the pending, and this one here we'll go ahead and do not paid. So let's go ahead and not paid. So these are just examples. You can obviously come in here and figure out how you want to filter this information so that it fits your needs in these different views. So as I go to the different view, they filter, let me see, paid. Let me go in here and make sure I save this. Status, paid, and save. See, I didn't hit that save the last time I did it. And it's pretty easy to miss because I'm moving pretty quick. I think it would auto save, but it does not. So something I wish that they would probably change here. This one is depending. Okay, we're off. Save. And not paid. Let's go through that again. Status, not paid. Go out of there. What is the drop down for? So save for current or save as new. Okay, so this lets you, if you're on, the main view, you can actually set up these criteria and then save that new view without having to do it ahead of time like I did. So that's pretty cool. Go ahead and save that for the current. And then on this one here, what I'll do is I'll just show how you can do the group by. So right now I have the setup, let's group by the actual status. Instead of only showing these particular ones here, we'll do group by so you get a different view of what that would look like. So if we do group by here, hit save, we can see that chunked that up into paid, not paid. So do this, set up your views how whatever works for you. But yeah, it's pretty flexible, and I do like the flexibility of these collections that they have out there. You can give your collections whatever name you want to. Just come in here and change the name and save it, and yeah, this is nice. So from this perspective, I can come in and I can put all of my tenants in here. I can put what property they're in. I can put what units they actually live in, and then what rent they should be paying, and any other fees that might need to show up here. And yeah, I can come in here and set up the status and update this. You can even come in here and, like I have month and year, you can add a date in here if you'd like to too, but the date for me in this example would not fit. I want to know what month they're in, and when I come to this view, like if I only want to see a certain month, then I can come in here and filter out how does it look for November, how is it going to look for December, and or even a quarter, where I can pick maybe 3 different months that are in a quarter and just see a quarter view of different payments from the different tenants. Now going down into the rental income and expenses, you can do a similar approach. You can see how I have it set up here, where I have the actual expense or the income that's coming in and what that's labeled as. And then I can come in here and set the types. So I can set, rent would be income, mortgage would be expense, we have expense, we have repairs, we have another expense, we have income, and then we have income there. Come in and set up the actual amounts that are here, which properties, the month, these came in, and then any tags or any other fields that you might want to add that's relevant for your needs. And this could be like this one here would be just for property 1 as we move through. And then I can basically do the exact same thing for property 2 and 3, 4, and so on, and log all the expenses here. These can, I can filter it for 1 month, and then it will sum up what the expenses were for there. I can come in here and I can actually group it, do a group by, and let's group by the type. So we can have all the income at the top and show what the totals would be for one or multiple properties, and the same thing with the expenses there. So let's actually, we'll clear that one. So I want to show another thing here with collections on data entry. So right now there is no easy way to get data in here. You have to manually input it. So what you could do is, if you have that information in a spreadsheet and you just want to transfer it into here and then create maybe a nice looking template that you want to share either to investors or other partners, the way you can populate that information from Excel would be fairly easy. The only thing is that you do have to come in here and you have to add all the rows that you're going to need ahead of time. So it would be nice that when I do what I'm going to show you right now, that the actual rows would kind of add as you need them as you're pasting information in. So what I'm going to do is actually paste information in there. So let's say I have here are all my common income and expenses for a property. I can come in here and I can just select those, as long as make sure I have enough rows in here to accommodate all the different stuff I want to paste, and then I can just paste those in there. So now I can come in here and I can put property 2, or I could actually have property 2 already on here. So we'll do property 2, and let's actually create more. And you see that there's a bug right here where I'm creating it and it's not scrolling up right now. So that plus button is missing. I have to scroll up, hit it, and it's hiding it there. So that's a bug that I think needs to be fixed on this one, so that when it gets to this bottom, it will auto add. So it does look like the collection, the table view, can only be so high from a height standpoint, and then it starts scrolling here. So I think this is enough right there. What I'm going to do here is create a space, knowing that here I got totals and I have a space. Let's do property 3, and right now the way I have this set up here on this side is that these are all single or single select fields here. So I would have to come in here and I can manually select which one I want. But because they're already there, this should work to where I can just copy all of those, select this first cell that I wanted in, and then I can paste all that in, and it pastes in the way it should. So yeah, I do like this. The only thing is, if I paste in and I don't have the rows available, it will not paste those in there, and it will not create the additional rows that I need for that information. So that's something I think they can improve on in here. And now with this here, and I have the income and expenses set up, I could come in here and I can do a group by, and I can either group by the type, and then I can show, say, for this month, I want to see all the income for all the properties that I have out there. That will show up here, and then all the expenses for all their properties, those would show up in here, and I can calculate that, and it'll sum it up. And these won't. So like if I was to come in here and put 1 there, 3, we can see how it's summing up at the bottom there. So if I put 6 here and 6 over here, you see it has a different sum. So those are doing what they need to do there. If I come in and I group by property, we can do that too. So group by the property, we can show this, save. You know, it'll show the income and expenses for each property. So this is pretty good in what they give you, and this kind of just shows you an example of what you can actually do with collections in their current form. Alright, so I hope that was informative and had some value in it on how you can use collections within Craft. Again, this is still in beta, so it's not out to the public yet, but it should be released here pretty soon, at least before the end of the year, from what the Craft team is saying. So just giving you a first look, or maybe this is just a more in-depth look on how you can use this particular feature when it comes out. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and finish the video here. If you saw value in this, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and until the next time, have a nice day.